what I said before is all about international relations. 2 years ago, precisely 2017, the brother to the supreme leader of North Korea, King Jong, that was his name, was killed with a VX nerve gas or agent, and 2 ladies were apprehended, but 4 Korean men escaped until date. They've not been seen. Yes, Aisha was taken to prison in Indonesia because of that accusation. She was accused of being a suspect in the murder, but as at yesterday, according to reports, without concrete reasons, she was let off the hook. People have been asking questions: what is really going on here? What power is at play? Who are those responsible for pulling this string? Do you think that this may just have other implication between relationship between Indonesia and North Korea, or they have other deal that we don't even know of? What do you think will be the stand of the U.S. in all this? Is this part of the deal that is really cut with the U.S. president? So many questions emanating from this singular act. But when you ask the parents of Aisha from what we were told, they said, look, that lady that was being accused is innocent. And she said that she was given $100 just to go play a prank. She was thinking that according to her, it's a TV reality show. She was given a handkerchief to go clean the face of the brother of the supreme leader, and that was what really led to his death, that she was deceived into doing that, that she doesn't know the implication of anything that she was doing. After all, she's just a shopkeeper. What can you make out of that? Anyway, with me here in the studio to throw more light on this is a legal practitioner, a political analyst, both local and international politics is well granted, but he wants to remain international. I wonder why that is. Barrister Osahon Sazua, welcome to the show. I appreciate your coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Always my pleasure being here.
Okay, 2 years ago, after rancor and after North Korea being in the eyes of the world, something dastardly happened. The brother of the supreme leader was murdered with VS gas. Don't forget also that same period of time, there's an issue also in the UK where the nerve agent was also used against the cripples. Yes, though they survived, but in this case, King Jong did not survive. Up till date, they've not found the people, the 4 Koreans that left Indonesia immediately after that incident happened. And right now, Aisha, the leader, was accused of being the perpetrator of that act, was released yesterday. Her release. Is there more than meets the eye?
Yes, thank you very much. I think diplomacy went to work in this very instant. They saw that the young lady was careless. Just carelessness was a problem. She was accosted by about 4 Korean operatives who told them they were doing a kind of reality TV show, and that if they don't mind, for I think about $100 or something like that, they could just
$100.
They could just take an handkerchief and then surprise somebody by placing it on his face or something like that. They thought they were just normal prank, and not knowing that it was laced with the deadly VS nerve agent, a nerve gas that has been banned by all the modern countries in the world except North Korea, who have refused to sign. So, and that was that. They didn't know what was going to happen. They had no inkling. The criminal intent was not there. They were, like I said, they were just careless, and they thought they were playing prank, and then the man died. So I think the authorities in Malaysia took that into cognizance, and of course there have been serious diplomatic underground moves that have been made ever since. I think they finally paid off, and they realized that this woman, she did it. She killed somebody, but unknowingly. She thought it was just a joke, that all she was doing was just playing prank on a young man, not knowing that what was given to her was one of the most deadly known agent in the world.
Now, talking about the handling of the known agent, it is deadly, right? But this woman didn't die after being exposed to it. Don't you think there is more to this issue?
Yes.
The handler, she's the handler. She was a handler 2 years ago, and nothing happened to her.
Yes, she was made to, I think there was some kind of protection on her side. I think she wore some glove, and they just told her, don't allow this to get to you. This is all you have to do. Just do it like this. Be careful while doing it. It's part of the prank. It is part of the game. It is part of the old reality TV show that you handle it like this and you place it like this and you do it like that. So that was just that. I think that was the reasoning. And the lawyer was able to prove that she was innocent all the while. That while placing this handkerchief on the man's face, she didn't know what she was doing. She never knew she was being co-opted into a criminal activity. I think some of those arguments aired, and that's why the court needed to let her go. But whether she knew or not, I think to a very large extent, it could be presumed that she did not know. Like they said that they met, of course, she could not have known. She just also met those guys a couple of minutes before then. They met at the airport and they just accosted them and said, do this for us, do this for that. We are running a TV show. Just said, help us place this hanky on this man's face. So she never knew them before.
Now, that is a woman, Aisha, rubbing the handkerchief on the man's face. Now, that white cycle is seen on the screen. She just went in and look at it again. You know, it's like, you know, was trying to give him a hug, rubbed his face with it, and walked away. Yeah, now that was a CC TV footage, and this courtesy BBC News. So, I mean, for someone to be that careful, now you are a legal practitioner, and we know about the deadly nature of this VX gas. Do you think she was really paid to do this, beyond what she's saying? Now, that was the man that was killed, the brother, the supreme leader of North Korea.
Yes, what I call the act itself, the actor's voice, she did it. But then you also need the men's way. You need the mental state. You must have known that what you were doing was wrong. That what you were doing or about to do was a criminal act. And then, having known that, you go ahead and still do it. You also need that mental state, that your mental state of mind to grant a conviction. From the arguments a lawyer put forth and from what the prosecutors also accepted was that she didn't know. That she, like I said before, she thought she was taking part in a reality TV show, in a kind of prank. Abroad, very common. There has many game shows that has that kind of a narrative. So that was all she thought she was participating in. At the end of the day, somebody died. And she never knew that she was working for the North Korean supreme leader, who was very hell-bent on eliminating his enemy, who of course is his elder brother. So that was that. But
now the North Korean supreme leader said he doesn't have anything to do with it. After all, he just can't kill his brother. He's innocent. And you keep saying that this man is involved, but it hasn't been proven yet.
Of course, he's always innocent. No dictator we ever seen himself as a dictator. They think they are agents of light while doing the very work of Satan himself. So you don't expect him to say, I killed my brother. Seriously, we expect him to open up and say that. Of course, he will deny it, and he has denied. But the fact remains that he was uncomfortable with his senior brother having the freedom to go wherever he likes, and being out there disgracing him. As far as he was concerned, he was disgracing him, saying things he ordinarily shouldn't say, because he sees himself as a god, and the average North Korean also sees him as a god. They so idolize him, and they worship him. So, but here was his own brother, his own elder brother, who is the first child of the late Kim Jong-il. So, who ordinarily should be the leader of North Korea, but for political permutations and the favoritism that his late father also shown to the younger one. So he was out there just doing his own thing, very careful, living a very careful life, because even then, even the backpack he trapped on his back had some protection against this nerve agent. Just that it's like he foresaw what was going to happen. He knew that he was a wanted man. So he has been living incognito for almost 10 years prior to his death. But he made some mistakes online, and they knew where he was, and they followed him, and they killed him at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport.
At the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, and that sparked an outrage. North Korea was accusing Indonesia, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, whatever, the government of the day in this region of killing a citizen of North Korea, and not just an ordinary citizen, but the brother of the supreme leader. Do you think there's a twist in judgment somewhere?
Yeah, you see, it is not uncommon. Such narratives are not uncommon from dictators. They like, after committing their evil, they like to deflect them. They like to put it on someone else. You see what MBS did, Mohammed bin Salman, after brutally dismembering Khashoggi at the consulate office in Istanbul. After doing this, people he sent there to do it, they took them to court. I think they are still in court now. I haven't sent them just to kind of deflect that, look, we are doing something about this thing. People who did this act, they are being arrested, they are being prosecuted. But everybody know, for all intent and purposes, that he did it. Likewise, this young man came, who, like I said before, is very uncomfortable with his elder brother roaming around the capitals of the world and doing his own thing. He wants him to come home and worship him like the average North Korean do. So, but this guy was outside there just embarrassing him and
embarrassing him in what terms?
But the fact that he was not worshiping him was enough reason for him not to be alive. The fact that he wasn't home in North Korea, paying obeisance and genuflecting before him, and prostrating before His Royal Majesty, the young king. So that was enough reason for his bread to cease, and ultimately his bread ceased.
Ultimately, but now this is what we're talking about. Aisha, that was accused but released some few days ago, released of all charges. But do you think she is safe wherever she is from what really happened? City Aisha, is she safe?
Of course she is. It's a very clean job they did. There's no way, unless she has a photographic brain, memory, there's no way she can even record those Saudi and those North Korean operatives that accosted her at the airport. They just met briefly for some couple of minutes and said, do this for me, do this for me. She didn't know them before. And there was no contact, with prior contact, and then there was no after contact. So that's that. I think they also know that that as an asset, that she has nothing against them, unless maybe which is very impossible, which is very difficult, that maybe they will now arrest them and bring them to and parade them before her. Do you know this guy? She now have to think, yes, maybe it was this guy, because after some time, only that's the possibility that it can happen. But then she is free. She's very safe.
Now let's take a look at the relationship between North Korea and Indonesia. Do you think it will be healthy for this move, because of this move? Yes.
For North Korea and the deed has been done. Kim has his brother assassinated, and it is done. This woman was just a pawn that was used to achieve that nefarious end, and the end has been reached and achieved. So I think it's just to normalize the relationship between them, and to allow things to flow, to make room for peace. Someone needed to go, and the person is gone. So I think the man now wants to reach out. I'm talking about the Korean leader now, wants to reach out to the world and try to lessen the pains on his people, because they are suffering heavily. No common drugs, even food to feed is difficult. So he just wants to open up space to see that if the economy can blossom, to see the sanctions can be lifted, to see if he can reach out to his neighbors, and then ultimately to the United States, and ease the strain that is affecting the average North Korean as we speak.
Just to lift the sanction, or does it mean that they cut a deal somewhere?
Of course they did.
And this is part of the fallout of the deal?
Of course they did. If you follow what happened, she wasn't even expecting it. The deed was even caught behind her. She and her lawyer, they knew nothing about what was happening. Even the lawyer was surprised. They came to court that day, and the judge just rose and said, you have been discharged and acquitted, that nothing can go. The lawyer was taken aback. She was like, what was happening? So it was on the diplomatic level that the judgment was reached. They have been having talks between Malaysia and Indonesia since, and then that was the fruition of the whole diplomatic talks. So even the lawyer was, like I said, the lawyer was surprised, she was surprised, everybody was just surprised.
Now that's on her, but now there were two ladies. Now this is just one of them.
Vietnamese.
They are Vietnamese. Do you think that the sale were done on her behalf?
I think the government in Hanoi, this are gone, that the Vietnamese government, they have not done their diplomatic homework. And I think they will not have to open their talks right now. Because what is good for the goose also must be good for the gander. You cannot, it's the same thing. They are in the same O, so you can't take one from the O and leave the other one. It's just a matter of time, the other one we have to be let.
But right now, nothing has been said about it. After what a report that has been emanated right now, that's saying that it may not be a slap on the wrist for the Vietnamese lady, that this Aisha, so to speak, her case is different.
There's nothing that makes her case different. There is nothing. I think from what we know, it was even this Aisha that did the act, so to speak. The act that led to the death of Kim Jong Nam. So, but they were both briefed. So they knew what was going to, they were part of the prank to be played on Kim Jong Nam. They were briefed, do this for us. So it was even that one that did it. So there's no way that one could be let go. Like I said, it is bilateral talks that is just going on. So if Vietnamese government can do their own work now, the other one has to be let off the hook too. Otherwise, it will create a very embarrassing situation. Very embarrassing.
Embarrassing situation. Now,
because there's no yardstick. The substratum has been removed for holding. I think her name now is Jong, the Vietnamese lady. Yeah. She has to be let go. I think they just want to do some kind of diplomatic talk before she's let off the hook. No, right. That does if you ask me.
Okay. Now, does it mean that Indonesia is afraid of North Korea because of what they possess right now, and you're like, bargaining with them? They are now forced to reckon with.
Not necessarily.
Are you sure?
No. Yes. Very sure. I think it's just a kind of, like I said, the North Korean leader wants to. He wants some breathing space. The economic situation today in North Korea is very dicey. It's quite pathetic. It is something that is very hard, even harder than what we have today in Venezuela. So he wants the sanction to be lifted, and that's why he even went on the way to say that he wants North Korea to denuclearize, which for all practical purposes is something that is close to impossible, because that is their biggest insurance policy. As long as you are a nuclear power, nobody touches you. And the North Korean leader knows that. And every player in the international arena knows that. That what isolates you from foreign aggression, what brings respect to you from leaders who otherwise wouldn't have respected you, is your nuclear capacity. And North Korea has those capabilities. So for him to say he wants to denuclearize shows the extent to which he wants those sanctions to be lifted. He just wants that yoke off his neck so that he can breathe well, so that the North Korea can breathe well. So that's that. So, but for him to actually denuclearize is another thing. I think he wants to buy time with that. So this issue we are talking about today is also part of that reaching out, part of the turning a new leaf policy that North Korea wants to show the world that, look, we are gradually reforming, and if you want us to continue in this step, you take off some sanctions. I think ultimately the United States, Trump will have to lift some of those sanctions. He wants to do it, But Trump wants to look strong. He always wants to, because he prides himself on being a strong man, on being tough, making those tough decisions. And if he not succumb like that, just like he's also doing with his war now, he wants to be seen to be fighting. So that's why he's still holding on. I think for some few months from now, some sanctions will be lifted off North Korea, and you can quote me on that.
All right, some sanctions will be lifted from North Korea. Now, this thing happened in the UK. Russia was fingered. After much noise, nothing was done about it. And now we are having North Korea also been fingered, and the VS gas being used in Indonesia train station, so to speak. Now, for what is really happening, for what has happened, do you think that international relations will be kept intact if these people that are directly responsible are not brought to book?
You see,
because in the case of Russia, nothing was done to those agents, so to speak, and now also in North Korea, 4 of them missing, no sign, no report. It's like they just ghosted. Let me use that word.
You see, if you ask me, Woodson, the situation is very chilling, quite fearful if you factor in so many variables. Because the notion of chemical weapons itself denotes something that is erratic, something that cannot be controlled, or something that could only be controlled under very good circumstances. You need some level of expertise, some level of knowledge to handle these chemical weapons. So if somebody is dying somewhere in London, or as busy at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport from this nerve gas, it is very scary. What if the person faced to handle those substances well? You can see thousands, you can have thousands or hundreds of deaths in your hand in a very few minutes. That is why these weapons in the first place were outlawed. That nobody, no government should stockpile these weapons. And to a very large extent, the Western world have abided and still abide, and are still abiding by those rules. They have destroyed their stockpile of this nerve agent because of the inherent risk that is involved in the handling and the manufacturing and the transportation of these things. But we see have some rogue government like North Korea, or some irresponsible government like those of Russia, who think they want to have this edge, this military edge over the rest of the world in case we all go mad, so that they can bring these things out. Are you getting it? So they are still holding on to it, and it is quite dangerous. But who can tell Putin to destroy his tech? Of course, it will tell you it doesn't have. In North Korea, we also tell you they don't have. But it is, we all know that these things are still there. That is why sometimes it is very, someone said that we learn our mystery at the price of our innocence. There are some certain knowledge we acquire, we can no longer pretend to be innocent. Our eyes have become open like Adam and Eve. We lose those innocence and then we become dangerous. This knowledge are there. Mankind have learned to harness some powers of nature for destructive purposes as well as for positive ones. But those knowledge we have acquired in making those chemical weapons or those nuclear weapons, they are out there. We already know them. So, and as far as these things are concerned, based on what we are as human beings, human nature, some of us will always be who we are. Humans will always be humans. Like Dr. King said, that we have guided missiles and unguided men. We have guided missiles and unguided men. So those unguided men will still continue, since the knowledge is out there, to exploit it, to make those weapons, even whether you ban them or not, they will hide it. Irrespective of the fact that they know fully well that these weapons in itself are very dangerous and they are very inhuman. Do you want to kill dogs with those weapons? They are being stockpiled for human beings, just like you and me. Therein lies the danger.
All right, now would you say this is the next phase of assassination? Because then during the time of the Kennedys, it was like, you know, long-range sniper. You get to see them taking them out, and though it took them time to really catch the culprit, but this time around they just mess something by the door, or just a singular touch. It's just a new phase that the world is going into in assassination or international conflicts, neatly, carefully, calmly, and calculatively taken to take out opponents or perceived enemies.
Sadly, that is very much true. That is why again the King said that in modern warfare, in modern war, that no country that can claim victory. That the stakes are not so high that all of us we have to lose. In the next major war that will happen, everybody, all sides will lose because of the nature of the weapons that are now available to almost whether those the so-called good nations, let's say like US, who like good in quotes, or the so-called bad guys like North Korea and Russia and China, bad in quotes. So if, God forbid, the next global war that escalates, losers on one side, maybe that will be the end of human being as we know them. Maybe we evolved into something else, but we don't know that yet. But certainly civilization as we know it will not continue after the next major war. To answer your question, yes, that is why these weapons in the first place were also outlawed. Because responsible government saw that they could be weaponized, not only for mass murder, but also for targeted assassinations. Somebody can lace his hand with some nerve agent, just give you a handshake. We know politicians when they go, when they do their campaigns. They can just be some. I think that one has the record of about shaking about 5,000 persons during one campaign. Imagine one of them laces down with one chemical stuff. You just imagine what will happen. So these weapons in the first place were outlawed. But like I said, you need big institutions or big states or a country to be able to not only to manufacture these weapons, but to handle them, to stockpile them in a safe place. And unfortunately, there are still one or two rogue nations that still stockpile these things. They are still actively engaged, even doing experiments, even trying to even improve the powers of these known weapons. So there are still some like that, even when most modern countries have abandoned that. Even those modern countries that have abandoned this pursuit, because the knowledge is out there, anytime they want, they can manufacture these things. The fact that, let's say, UK and the US no longer stockpile VS nerve gas does not mean that if there is a major outbreak where they need that VS nerve gas, that they cannot quickly manufacture. They can. The knowledge is already out there. We have already lost our innocence by those knowledge which we have acquired. So that's for that. So I think the thinking is that mankind should do all we can to ensure that, yes, war has always been with us. From ancient times, we had war. Even Jehovah, the God of the Jews, was a no warrior. Read the scriptures, you see passages and passages when he said there was a great slaughter and about 400,000 fell by the sword. The Hebrew God was an all-conquering person, conquering for his people, that for that. So war, the fact being made that war we will always have. But then, are we going to start using weapons that will result in losses on all sides? There are wars that we fight today that everybody will lose. That no nation cannot claim victory at war. So common sense should dictate that we should do something about it. We should be serious about our nuclear stockpile. The next great man and the great thing for the next great man to do is to ensure that the world is nuclear free. That the nuclear one we have, the only nuclear stuff we have is just for domestic purposes, for power, and that as well. But nobody will think of that way. They want to keep these things. They always want to keep them against, who knows? Must there be a time when we will have need for it? When it is there, we also think of it as an option. But when we no longer have it, that option will be removed. I think the time has come for us to genuinely want to ensure that these weapons are destroyed. But then that is a very tall dream.
Very, very tall dream. You keep using the term rogue nation. How are they rogue nations? Now, these nations, take a look at North Korea, trying to defend the territorial integrity. Moreover, he was able to even shake Donald Trump to bring him to the negotiating table. How are they rogue nations?
When I use rogue nation, when I use the good guys and the bad guys, it's always on quotation marks. Yeah. But we must understand that civilization itself has placed certain responsibilities on us, both as individuals, as institutions, and as nations. And that there are some nations that still do all they can to follow these best practices, whether it is in weaponry, in military terms, in diplomacy, and in economy. They just want to try their best to be fair, or to be seen as being fair. In that light, we have maybe the UK or the Western nations to a very large extent. Of course, they also hold the trophy in hypocrisy, because they can say one thing with their mouth and keep another in their hearts. But that is a matter for another day. But we also have other nations. We have had them in the past, and North Korea is a good example today, in the present, who think that they can always do what they want without recourse to international laws, without recourse to what is morally just, or what is good, or what is fit. But having said that, you also ask yourself the question, what makes the US or Israel having nuclear war eggs morally just or morally fit, and North Korea having same morally unjust or rogue, or being roguish, if you know this thing?
Yeah.
But the ultimate test should be, to what extent is the leader of that country responsible to certain institutions within that nation that can ordinarily regulate the acts and activities of the leader.
All right.
Trump today in the US has so many chains, so many manacles, so many things that regulate him as an individual. He cannot just say this and it is done. So many checks, so many balances. But are those checks and balances prevalent today in North Korea? The obvious answer is no. So, to that extent, we can also say a nation is following the best practices while others are not doing so. It is the level to which that government is responsible to its people, to the institutions within that nation, that makes it whether it's rogue or not a rogue nation, if you ask me.
All right, now from all indications and observation, do you think that those 4 men responsible for the death of King Jong Nam, Supreme Leader's brother, do you think they will ever be caught?
If they will ever be caught?
Yeah. Taking a look at antecedents of this kind of an operation.
I don't think there is a way.
Because right now, according to Int'L, it's like a red alert. You see them, you report, they'll act immediately.
There's no way I don't think there's a way they will be caught, unless and until North Korea genuinely wants to do something about human rights. Genuinely want to do something about respect for international law.
Yeah.
Genuinely want to do something about doing the right thing. You cannot continue to send forth your operatives to keep people on foreign soil by violating their territorial integrity. What he did at Kuala Lumpur was very wrong, because it's a sovereign nation. Malaysia, for crying out loud, is a sovereign nation. That is lack of respect for international law again. Or what Russia did with the CRISPO in London. So it is very bad. So I don't think those 4 persons will ever be found. And if the West again, especially the United States, is honest in dealing with North Korea, one of the demands that Trump should be put on the table is for those 4 persons. Yes, you want peace. You want those sanctions to be lifted. If ever we are going to lift those sanctions, one of those guys that killed your brother in Kuala Lumpur, let's talk about that one too. Well, of course, Trump is not concerned about human rights. He has other pressing issues more
Oh,
important.
you
than
just
human
can't
rights.
say that you don't know about it, that Trump isn't concerned about human rights. Whatever he's been doing is to make the world a better and, of course, a safer place. That's how he told them, look hot, denuclearize, or else we'll bring you down. Anyway, thank you so much, Barrister Osaho Osazwa, the presidential director, has given me a strong signal to call it a wrap on this show because our time is up. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Well, you've heard them. Those 4 men, they are still at large, and Aisha has been released. What do you think Vietnam would do to release their own citizens? Because 2 of them were involved, but she was one that smeared the handkerchief with the VS gas on the face of the Supreme Leader's brother, King Jong Nam, and the man is late now 2 years later without proper conviction. Even Aisha was like, so surprised. Lady, all the charges against you has been dropped. If it's over you, how will you feel about it? Anyway, we'll do it again next week, Tuesday, God willing. Bye for now.